Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Thursday, January 10th, 2019. Just got a interesting phone call as I was about to go live. And I told the man I could talk to him for 2 minutes, but I didn't want to start the live stream too late. And the conversation went about 5 minutes. He had a lot to say. But he just recently came across this research, and it was making him shake up his beliefs about this life. And I was just trying to put some of his concerns to bed. So apologies for the tardiness. Just trying to help out somebody who crossed the work today or recently. And that said, let's get into it. I was looking at this day in history, and there were some things that really jumped out at me. Things that I had never seen before. So on this day in history, January 10th, 1776, Thomas Paine anonymously published his influential pamphlet, Common Sense, which argued for American independence from British rule. And it just couldn't be any more perfect. It really couldn't. This day, January 10th, 1776, had numerology of 104, just like British has Gematria of 104. Just like July 4th, 1776, also a date with 104 numerology. And not only that, but from January 10th to July 4th is 176 days later. And notice the gematria of Thomas Paine, 176. The name Thomas alone also has a gematria value of 76, as in the year 1776. Just funny how you can go throughout history and see how these things have been designed and coordinated for centuries. Unless it is that at some point, all of the history that we've learned has been retold and recontrived in more recent times. Also on this day, January 10th, a date that can be written 1/10 like 110, John D. Rockefeller incorporated Standard Oil. Of course, Rockefeller equals 110. Don't forget it was the Rockefeller family that was behind getting the World Trade Center project in motion in the early 60s. And of course, those buildings in New York City were built 110 stories tall. Rockefeller, 110. Standard Oil, 110. In 1920, on this day, the League of Nations was established as the Treaty of Versailles went into effect. And notice the name of the treaty. In Gematria, 110. On January 10th. In 1984, the United States and the Vatican established full diplomatic relations for the first time in more than a century. Perfect. In 84. Jesuit 84, United States of America 84. And as a reminder, we have the first publicly Jesuit Pope at this time, Pope Francis, who's born on a date with 84 numerology. Again, Washington, D.C. was once the Catholic colony. It's why it's between Virginia and Maryland, like Virgin Mary. So thought those were some shining examples today. News by the numbers all throughout history. I also like to talk about this story 2, 3, maybe 4 times a year. It's one of my favorite stories. Understanding this knowledge of Gematria, the story of Piltdown Man. Piltdown Man was used as proof of evolution for 41 years. In the base ciphers, evolution does have a value of 110. It's not the number we're going to talk about. It's not the most important number to evolution, but I thought I'd use today 110 as another excuse to talk about it. So Piltdown Man, used as scientific evidence of proof of evolution. If you've never heard of Piltdown Man, please research it. There's a lot of information on all of the fraud behind it. Not only was it used as proof of evolution, but it was also used to prove that the white race was superior to all other races. It was argued that Piltdown Man was found in the UK Used this proof that the white man was the original man, why white people had bigger brains. All of this stuff was admitted to be a fraud after 41 years, and we're going to get to why after 41 years. So, the man who discovered Piltdown Man was Charles Dawson, not to be confused with Charles Darwin, but I don't think it's an accident how similar their names are. Charles Dawson, and you can see that his name has a gematria of 74, the reflection of 47, both very important numbers to Freemasonry, which has a stranglehold on science. In 47 gets its significance from the Masonic compass set at 47 degrees as a tribute to the 47th problem of Euclid, which is about how to establish foundation. Evolution in science is taught as the foundation of our understanding, how our existence came to be. And just notice, Piltdown Man, taught in schools, taught in universities, as the definitive evidence for 41 years. So why did they do 41? Of course, because in Gematria, Piltdown equals 41. When you flip the alphabetic order around, science equals 41. And Piltdown Man was supposedly discovered December 18th, 1912. That's the day leaving 13 days left in the year. 13 days. 41's the 13th prime number. Again, special numbers to Freemasonry. Think about the dollar bill with all the Masonic symbolism and the 13 layers of bricks and the all-seeing eye on top. What else is interesting about Piltdown Man is if you add the word man, you'll notice Piltdown Man and conspiracy have perfect overlap in Gematria, 51 and 57. If you use the alphabetic order, Piltdown also sums to 113, the number of mainstream deception. Again, mainstream, dishonest, perverted, not true, not honest, not factual, disinfo, politics, perjury, fiction, bullshit, infidelity, divorce, green screen, Piltdown, and just a million other things that have to do with lies throughout history are connected to this number 113, including the Titanic. If you've never seen my work on the Titanic and the men who died on that ship and how they were fighting the Federal Reserve and how the sinking of that ship was synced up with the establishment of the Federal Reserve, it's all stuff you need to check out. It's in my book. It's on my blog. I have older videos about it. But anyway, 113 is this number of deception. By the way, George Lucas, the master of the green screen, his first film was THX 113. 8. If you've never seen that film, you should check it out too. It's about a world kind of like the one we're living in. The Latin name that they gave for Piltdown Man, I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but the gematria of the Latin name for Piltdown Man sums to 84, like Masonry. It also sums to 96, like Freemason. Go figure. With regards to the name Charles, the discoverer, Charles has that gematria 42 like Freemason, Charles Dawson, Charles Darwin. Piltdown Man was discovered December 18th, 1912. That was a date with 42 numerology as well. The Freemason fingerprints all over. Don't forget modern Freemasonry established in the UK, not far from where Piltdown Man was discovered. By the way, the name Darwin, the name most thought of when people think of evolution, has perfect overlap with Masonry and secrecy. Darwin also died on a date with 33 numerology, likely not by accident. Date with 123 numerology as well, like conspiracy. Darwin himself was born on the 43rd day of the year. The word evolution in the base ciphers does also have a gematria value of 43. In the most pure cipher, evolution's 43. Darwin, 43rd day of the year. How perfect. And the date of his birth was a date with 41 numerology. Go figure. Like how the Piltdown Man lie lasted for 41 years. Born on the 43rd day, a date with 41 numerology. And again, Freemasonry have their fingerprints all over science and scientific achievement in the history books all throughout history. Science equals 58, like Freemasonry, like Rosicrucian, like secret society. Like how NASA was established in the year 58. NASA was established on a date with 113 numerology. Piltdown, 113. Let me just queue up a short clip. I think I can show just a short segment of this and it won't be a problem. It's like right at the 18-minute mark. Okay, here I'm gonna turn up the volume. I just want you to hear this. This is from the tour of the House of the Temple, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry in Washington, D.C. I just want you to hear this from the tour there.
I learned that almost all of our astronauts have been Freemasons.
I don't know how clear that was. If you can't make it out, the name of the video is Washington, D.C. Masons, Freemason Influence on America. There's a lot of interesting things in here. But right there, just talking about how almost all of the astronauts have been Freemasons. Go figure. Freemasonry, so much influence in this world. Close this real quick. But Piltdown in Scottish, as in the Scottish Rite, the very powerful branch, very powerful in the UK. Again, not far from Piltdown. Got the Gematria overlap. And if you come back and read the discovery, supposedly found by Charles Dawson, and it was Arthur Smith Woodward, the keeper of geology at the Natural History Museum, who helped him make additional discoveries proving the existence of Piltdown Man, the relevance. Look at the name Woodward in light of Piltdown. Notice in the 4 base ciphers, they have the same 4 numeric values. Woodward and Piltdown. How many museums in this world do you think are just full of BS? If it was this way then, why would it be any different now? You know? By the way, with regards to Piltdown Man having that Gematria 57 and 51, the big conspiracy numbers, don't forget Moon has that Gematria too. Speaking of NASA and science and big achievements. And again, you see these patterns and numbers. You can go all throughout history. You can look at other things, other notable stories. You'll just see how the same patterns persist all throughout history. All the numbers pointing in one direction. And again, this code is Masonic as well. So it's not hard to see. It's not hard to see. Look at the nice portrait of all the white men, proving that Piltdown man proved that whites were superior and evolution was true. Fast forward to the present. Story that emerged last night. Trump's TV speech and the Democratic response has this federal worker ready to look for a new job. So here's some nice federal propaganda. This came on January 9th, the date that can be written 9/1, like 91. The name of this man is Dante Bis Grayson Hellick, supposedly. And look at his name in the most pure cipher. 91, like the date numerology. Look at Make America Great Again. It's Make America Great Again. You know? His name, this name of this man from this story looking for a new job, overlap with Make America Great Again in our 2 reduction-based ciphers. His first name, Dante, also carries that Gematria 91. And again, this was on the 19th day of the government shutdown, January 9th, 2019. And the emphasis is about how he's looking for a new job. He thinks this is going to get really bad here. Job 9, the story on the 9th. You add 1 through 9 together, it equals 45, like how Trump's number 45. We'll see just how long this shutdown goes for. Be comical if it ended January 16th, you know, with the 116th Congress. Again, that would be 25 days. Maybe it'd be 26 days. We'll see. We'll see what they do. Another story. Something in the world of science. Doesn't this look so real? Looks like a cartoon. Second fast radio burst detected in space. And this was part of a big discussion yesterday in Seattle. Seattle on January 9th. Remember yesterday we had the divorce story. Jeff Bezos and his wife getting split up on January 9th, the big Seattle couple. Seattle 19, Bezos equals 67, the 19th prime. Anyway, Seattle's on the 47th parallel, right? This is about a radio wave in space. Radio equals 47. Radio also equals 29. Yesterday had the 29 date numerology. January 9th, 19, Seattle 19. You can flip it around, 9/1, space 91. Seattle has a long history of space-related phenomena. Again, the first official UFO sighting was supposedly just outside of Seattle by Mount Rainier. Don't forget that Washington's the 42nd state. UFO equals 42, like outer space, like Freemason. But no coincidence. This information came out yesterday in a conference at Seattle. This is news by the numbers, day after day. And I'm just wondering how big of a year it's going to be for Seattle. We're not even 2 weeks into this year, and I've already covered more Seattle-related stories than I normally do in a whole year. So, see what's coming for Seattle. Thinking about how the word quake equals 19. And as someone who's lived up here my whole life, they've been preparing us for the mega quake. The mega quake. Could it come in 2019? I'm sure the land developers in Seattle would just love to knock down Pioneer Square. I'm sure they would just love to knock it down. That whole area would crumble with a mega quake. It's the oldest area of Seattle. It's where they preserve the underground city. If you've ever been to Seattle, you can go on the underground city tour. Seattle's built on top of the old city, which burned down. But Seattle, in recent years, has put up more skyscrapers than any city in the world outside of what's going on in China with the development. And Pioneer Square is this preserved area, under the Historic Preservation Acts. I know there's all sorts of developers that would just love to see that section crumble to the ground so they can build some more skyscrapers there. I imagine the new buildings that they built, they probably are, proofed for the mega quake that's supposed to come. Could be this year. We know how they like to do quakes by the numbers. This is the nation that spent half a century detonating very powerful explosives underground and has God knows what else technology to influence what we consider natural disasters. So, Seattle, Seattle, Seattle. I'm amazed. And the follow-up today, the headline about Jeff and Mackenzie Bezos is there's no prenup. Yesterday I was talking about how Amazon, how they do all these 47 rituals again and again and again, and how ironic it is that Jeff Bezos, his wife's birthday is April 7th, like 4/7, like Seattle on the 47th parallel, the land of 47. And no prenup happens to equal 47 too. And just aside from the gematria, I mean, doesn't something seem severely wrong with Jeff Bezos? It's like the closest thing I've ever seen to Frankenstein. Story in the news today happened last night. Supposedly, a female police officer was killed. They didn't put out her name at first. It's now been released. But right away, what jumped out at me about this story is that she was killed yesterday, January 9th, and she was killed at 8:20 p.m. And right away, I'm looking at the 82 in that number and the date, January 9th. And the most pure ciphers, Saints, the big football team in Louisiana, their name equals 82 and 19. We've been talking about these rituals all year with 82 and 19 in the Saints. And, the Pope, on the Pope's 82nd birthday, the Saints were playing on Monday Night Football. They became the first team to become or get to 12 wins. They became 12-2, like Pope Francis's 122. Anyway, this is what was standing out to me right away. So I was like, okay, well, let's see what her name equals when her name comes out. And Notice this town it happened in has this 113 gematria. When her name got posted here by the local news, they posted at 11:30. The 266 stands out in a big way, too, for this town because Pope Francis is the 266th Pope. You know what? Let me just see if I can just pull up one of these posts real quick. Pope Francis, Saints, 266. I know there was riddles this year, this NFL season. So here it was. On Drew Brees' so this was before the game was played. So Drew Brees on this day went on to play his 266th game and get his 153rd win. Jesuit order equals 153. So does Holy Bible. Pope Francis is of the Jesuit order. He was left on 113 losses too. But this game was also on Drew Brees' 266th day of his age. And Drew Brees set this big record, the most passing yards in an NFL or for a career. It was on Columbus Day, you know, Christopher Columbus, paid for by the Catholic Church. At the 2-minute warning, they gave this big tribute to Drew Brees while the score was 26-6 on his 266th day of his age in his 266th game. And let's see. We'll keep going. Notice the Saints were playing the Redskins on Christopher Columbus Day, native genocide, you know, slaughter, sick ritual. This game was 71 days from Pope Francis's birthday, Catholic 71. Drew Brees had a passing record in the 71,000 yardage mark. His big pass of the night was to a guy born on January 7th, a date written 7/1. There was some more stuff here. Oh, yeah. On that same day in baseball, the two native teams got eliminated on Christopher Columbus Day, the Indians and the Braves. Notice the Dodgers beat the Braves 6-2. The Redskins lost to the Saints 43-19, 62 points. Genocide equals 62. There was just so many riddles here. It was just such a perfect example of how scripted things are, from you know, sports to what's going on with the Pope. It's just undeniable. And, you know, you think this is the kind of content that would bring in like millions of subscribers, since like the whole world is watching sports and Catholic, and, you know, it really doesn't make sense how this work doesn't find people. I guess it's because it like crushes their whole worldview. But, you know, people are going to have to come around to the truth at some point. So anyway, getting back to this, they put out this woman's name, and her name has Gematria 64. And New Orleans Saints equals 64. Her first name's also 64. Her name also sums to 199. That's the 46th prime number. Sacrifice equals 46. So does Catholic. Think about JFK, dead at age 46, the only Catholic president. Her name has Gematria 62, another sacrifice number. Her name has a lot of numbers, but the 64 is what really popped, and that's the number I was looking for. I was just waiting to see if her name would sum to 64 like New Orleans Saints. Sure enough, it did. Law enforcement also sums to 64, so does kill. But I was waiting to see if she had the big New Orleans Saints connection, and sure enough. So you just can't make this stuff up. It's systematic, it's clockwork. Just keeping track of the timeline here, the big story with the government shutdown today, well, there were two parts. McConnell blocked the Democrats' move to reopen Congress. Again, we're not to the right day yet in the ritual. We know that all this stuff's ritual. And then the other thing is Trump lands in Texas near the site of where they want to build the border wall. And remember, today's January 10th, 1/10. Border wall 110, president 110. What a day for the president to be down at the side of the border wall. It's funny they updated this. I'm sure they changed the time, but when I caught this, it was 2:29 p.m. 229 is the 50th prime. Donald equals 50. America 50. Today has 50 date numerology. 1 + 10 + 20 + 19. Also, that video we just saw the clip of with the Freemason astronaut. If you go back to that clip and you go to the 6 minute and 50-second mark, I was just watching some of this today in the background while I was doing my decoding. I guess I should say I was listening to it in the background while I was decoding. I heard them say August 10th, and then I was like, whoa, August 10th, I got to go back and see what they were saying. Watch this clip. It's a lot to explain, but they talk about how every year there's this amazing astrological alignment on August 10th with the way Washington, D.C. is designed, with the obelisk and the White House and the nation's capital. Go back and watch. It's really interesting. And the thing about August 10th is that date can be written 10/8, like 108. Remember, that's the geometry number. Gematria equals geometry and language with the alphabetic order, forwards and backwards geometry. Sums to 108. Very special number. Again, connecting the moon, the earth, and the sun. They say from the earth to the sun in distance, the distance is the diameter of 108 suns. And from the earth to the moon, the distance is the diameter of 108 moons. And they say the diameter of the sun is 108 earths across. And again, just 108. If you write it out by hand, you'll write 1 is a line, probably, 0 is a circle, and 8 is 2 circles connected. Lines and circles, geometry, perfect alignment year after year. So amazing how it can all be. But August 10th, the other thing is it leaves 143 days left in the year. And these are secrets of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 143. Again, it's no coincidence the way the dates line up with the Gematria. Everything was coordinated at once. Don't forget, Freemasonry equals 58, so does secret society, so does calendar, so does Gregorian, so does zodiac, so does solar cycle. They all equal 58. Biblical's 58. Coding's all over the Bible. It's all over our language. It's all over our history. It's all over our calendar. Who gave us the calendar again? The Catholic Church. Remember, this code of letters and numbers. They say it was secured by the Catholic Church at the end of the Crusades. So, and again, as another reminder, DC used to be the Catholic colony. The Jesuits, who run the Catholic Church, they have all the overlap with the Scottish Rite. It's not hard to see that there's an unholy alliance there. They're keeping the secrets. They're executing the agenda. CNN was poking fun at Trump today. This reminded me of George W. Bush. Trump, in his own words, he would almost say definitely will declare emergency. And when I saw this quote, it just reminded me of the old book. Hold on, we got a caller here. Hello, caller.
What's up, Zach? I just want to make it quick. While you talking about Donald Trump, don't forget to tell the viewers about the time cover from '89, the July 16th time cover. Talk about that too. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, I appreciate it. It's actually the next slide. I'm on it.
Okay.
All right. So that was good timing because that's actually the next thing I'm going to talk about. Last night he called into the radio show and asked if I could look into that, and found a pleasant surprise. But if you've never watched, if you're younger out there and you've never watched the Bush-isms videos, the compilations of George W. Bush speaking and just speaking nonsense, you really should watch those. I don't know if you'll find them as funny as I do, but it never gets old to me. When I watch the Bush-isms videos, like I break into tears laughing. I think it's because it's also tragic, but when I need a laugh, I'll just put on some Bush-isms. Anyway, and also the other thing about Donald Trump is when George W. Bush was the president, I never thought in my life I would wish that he was the president, but Donald Trump really does make me wish we still had George W. He was a different kind of stupid, but I don't know. Donald Trump just disgusts me. So did Bush, but it was just different. Anyway, here's Donald Trump, the first time he was ever on Time magazine. The date was January 16th, 1989. Notice Trump's holding a card. You know, the Trump card, the House of Cards, you know, the TV show as he's running for president. But notice he's holding the ACE, ACE, 3 letters. How easy is ACE to add up? A is 1, C is 3, E is 5. 1 plus 3 plus 5, 9. 9. What happens when you add 1 through 9 together? 45. And the 1, 3, and 5, the letters in ACE, the other thing that makes me think of is the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA 135. Remember that woman who's the head of it now, Gina Sherry Haspel. Her name's got the 135 Gematria. She was nominated on May 13th, 13/5. But Donald Trump, January 16th, 1989. What's interesting is if you write out January 16th, it sums to 218, like Trump in caps and all Francis Bacon Gematria. Remember what time his emergency alert went out to our cell phones? 218. Remember when the election was called for Donald Trump? Hillary Clinton was at 218 electoral votes at the time, and it became mathematically impossible for her to win. It wasn't the final count of her electoral votes, but when it was called for Trump, she was at 218. And the predictive programming was already out there for Trump and his future role in the Oval Office. So, good question last night. Actually never dug into that before. Learn something new every day. I used to have an older video on my first channel about the track down episode. A lot of people still ask about this, so I figured, well, since we're talking about Trump in the past and predictive programming, Snopes recently did an article and said, oh, maybe I didn't link it. Yeah, here it is. Snopes, which likes to disprove conspiracy theories, even though they usually don't. They looked in to see if this was a real episode, and they said it was. I still wonder, was this really a real episode? It just blows my mind if it was. I mean, it entirely could have been. It came out in 1958. Donald Trump, the winner of the 58th U.S. presidential election, announced he was running from the 58-story Trump Tower, hired the 58-year-old Steve Ray for Inauguration Day. Notice the date was May 9th, 5958. What's Freemasonry equal in Gematria? 58 and 59. But having seen Wag the Dog, again, if you've never seen Wag the Dog, you really got to watch that movie. It is just, if there's one movie out there you got to watch, it's Wag the Dog. It shows you everything that is done to deceive us in that movie. And you got to realize, if you've never seen it, that it was done just before Bill Clinton had the whole impeachment thing over Lewinsky, and you know, the wars going on in the same region of the world that are the wars that are going on in that movie. You really got to watch Wag the Dog. But in that film, they go back to the National Archives and they they insert these false pieces of history and make them part of the historical record, even though they're really not. This end of the world episode feels like that to me. I mean, maybe it's not, but it feels that way. I don't know if you can still watch this. It was on YouTube for a while. Look it up. Track down the end of the world. The name of the episode. It's black and white. It's about this swindler. He's going to build a wall. Just want you to see this here. In the show, he's referred to as the high priest of fraud, which has this gematria of 223, which is the 48th prime number. Donald Trump 48, wall 48. But here it is right here. The director of Trackdown is Don McDougal, or Donald McDougal. Notice the name Donald McDougal and the name Donald Trump. This is just using the alphabetic order on Derek's cipher. It's the dark green one. This post was before Derek's cipher existed. But Donald McDougal, 138, like Donald Trump. When you flip the alphabetic order around, Federal's 138. Donald Trump, how old would he have been? He was born in 46. He wasn't even a teenager yet when this came out. So the actor Lawrence Dobkin plays Walter Trump. He's the swindler. Walter Trump. Look at Walter Trump. 50, like how Donald's 50, like America's 50. The end of the world, 83, like the Donald, like election, like leap year. 83 is also the 23rd prime. Donald's 23 as well. The quote from the film, Walter Trump, I am the only one. Trust me. I can build a wall around your home that nothing can penetrate. Anyway, haven't talked about that for a long time, but if you got free time, you might want to go back and check out that episode. I'm sure it's still out there. If you missed last night's TFR program, other brilliant caller from New York, he introduced something new to my vocabulary from the world of the WWF, now the WWE. Kayfabe. Kayfabe. It is the portrayal of staged events within the industry as real or true, specifically the portrayal of competition, rivalries, and relationships between participants as being genuine and not of a staged or predetermined nature of any kind. That term, it might exist within the WWE, but we really do need to adopt it into pretty much everything that we see in the world of media. I would say this fits right in with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, and the whole rigged election. Donald Trump, longtime supporter of the Clintons, Democrat his whole life until Obama was in office. You can still watch the videos of Donald Trump talking up how great Hillary is, how brilliant she is, how much he likes Bill Clinton, how they're friends, how they go out to dinner. And then don't forget Donald Trump. I mean, he's been a participant in the WWE multiple times. He even wrestled Vince McMahon in WrestleMania. I believe it was a WrestleMania event, wearing his pink tie. So Pink's got that Gematria 23 like Donald. But I also noticed this term kayfabe, 51 like federal, like conspiracy, 138, and 39 also like federal. Donald Trump's 138. So what are the odds? What are the odds? Robert Kraft, the Jewish owner of the Patriots, he just got a big award. Patriots owner Robert Kraft awarded Jewish Nobel Prize, vows to step up fight against anti-Semitism. Oh, boy. Anyway, look how old Robert is right now. 77 years old. 77. What do we know about that number? Judaism equals 77. Zionist 77. Power 77. His star quarterback, Tom Brady, born in 77. Reminds me how the whole Patriots thing began with September 11th and the Patriot Act. And, I'm sure you guys all know all the 77s on September 11th, so try not to be so repetitive. But Robert Kraft. Oh, yeah, I love this one too here. Under his ownership, the Patriots have developed into one of the most successful and recognizable teams in the world and are now worth $3.7 billion. How nice. Patriots, 37. Go figure. Talk about some kayfabe. Really is sickening, What do Kraft Foods do? Poison people? They're certainly not kosher. Last night we had a caller call in. He said he's expecting the death of Dolly Parton. He said there was a recent death hoax on January 3rd for Dolly Parton. I was having trouble digging that up, but I did type in Dolly Parton and death hoax. And what came up instead that I hadn't noticed before is she had just lost her songwriter brother, Floyd, at the end of 2018 at age 61. And 61 is the 18th prime. So right away I was saying, that's interesting. Dead at 61 at the end of 2018. And the story is he died December 6th. Count the days. From December 6th to Dolly Parton's upcoming birthday, her 73rd, is 44 days. What do you know? the big kill number. Kills 44, execution 44. It's also 6 weeks and 2 days, sacrifice 62. With regards to it being synced up with her 73rd birthday, that's the sacrifice and ritual sacrifice number. You know, Dolly Parton, she always seems like such a nice, sweet lady. Millions of fans. You know, she's got a lot of people fooled. These people are not good people. So there is an organic side, but the way this stuff happens, it just feels anything but organic. You know, dead celebrities, family members in connection to celebrities always by the same numbers. Another story that emerged last night, the death of a young black man, 27 years old. His name's Jameek Lowry, and he was being taken from the police station to the hospital because he was paranoid and saying the police were going to kill him. And while being transported from the police station to the hospital, he died. You know, it's like these stories that become national stories. It's like, what are they doing to us? Are they, I mean, it's terrible that this stuff goes on all the time and there's no justice and nobody really cares and nobody blinks an eye. But then you know the Gematria and you see right through him. Not only is he 27 and dead on Monday, just like how we had the death of the second young black man on this same day in Ed Buck's house in Hollywood. Remember, January 7th, 19 is a date with 27 numerology. So you have a dead 27-year-old on a date with 27 numerology. Ritual equals 27. Racism, 27. Monday, 27. His name, Jameek Lowry, has the Gematria 64. The name Lowry is also 64. Civil rights, 64. So was kill. So was law enforcement. It's another Facebook Live related story, too. It says, prior to the ambulance ride, Lowry posted 2 Facebook Live videos from the police headquarters in which he claimed that the police were trying to kill him. I'm just paranoid. I'm not touching nobody, he says. Throughout the video, 2 officers stand a distance away, ask him to relax and call for an ambulance. There's somebody over there trying to kill me, he says in the video. Please don't kill me, officers. And then the story is that in being transported, he died. So it's like the story tries to work multiple things. It's like suspicious, but then it makes it seem like he's crazy and paranoid, and you know, it's like old dirty bastard. If you don't know who ODB is, he's the rapper from the Wu-Tang Clan who was saying people were trying to kill him, and then he ended up dead by the numbers. Death's in my book. I didn't check the Gematria on this phrase. Please don't kill me, officers. Let's just take a peek in real time what that looks like. Please don't kill me, officers. Please don't kill me, officers. 254, number connected to Saturn. Saturn's connected to death and judgment. 110. Story emerged last night, I believe. So, yeah. 133, big government number. I'm not sure. I'd probably have to do more decoding. I'm sure there's something greater to that riddle. But the 27 thing definitely pops. Also, last night, just in case you missed this, I put out a short video. The story emerged yesterday. The story was that this NFL football player's daughter died on January 3rd, 1/3 like 13, from a trisomy 13. Hello?
Hey, I saw you were working a little overtime last night after the show.
Yeah, I was.
Hey, so I did a Gematria on 4 blood moons.
Yeah.
It's got 67 Gematria in the purest cipher.
Huh.
Isn't that interesting?
Go figure.
And that's one I got to check out because that kind of tells it all right there. It sounds. I looked at the trailer this morning of it, and they got the little Israeli flag on top of the hill. You know, after they pretty much wiped everybody out, it looks like.
Right.
But and I just think that kind of goes hand in hand with what you were talking about earlier. You know, it's just like, you know, when you know this code, it's hilarious, but it's sick at the same time.
Exactly.
That's all I had, brother. I just I saw that last night and thought I wanted to share that. 4 Blood Moons. I got to check that one out. I watched The Invitation last night. That was pretty interesting.
Right.
Fun. Yeah, have it on Netflix.
Yeah. People got to check that film out. That equals 67 too.
Does it?
The Invitation equals 67. Yeah.
You gotta love. It's all coincidence, man. You know.
Right. It's
I know
horrible.
what I did for you. I had a question. So, what would the number? Let's see, March. What would that be? I think it's 233. What relevance does that number have? 233.
13 Fibonacci number, 51st prime.
Gotcha. Okay, because that movie, it makes sense now. That movie, what is it called again?
4 Blood Moons.
4 Blood Moons was released on March 23rd.
Right, and it's about, and the moon has 13 cycles, and moon equals 51. Right. So perfect.
The 13th Fibonacci number, where it all started. 13 Jewish banker families.
Right.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
Gotta love it, man. Thanks.
All right, have a good one.
You too, brother. Bye.
If that was quiet, I apologize. I just noticed that I don't know if it was quiet or not, but if it was, I noticed that when I answer the phone call through the computer, even though it's blasting here, it seems to maybe mute it sometimes when it goes through the live stream. I don't know why that is. So if that just happened, I'll check after this and see if it happened again. I won't do it that way anymore. Anyway, just in case you missed this, death of this NFL football player's daughter on January 3rd, right before his team picks up their 13th win of the season in the wild card round. She dies from this heart condition, a trisomy 13. And again, this guy plays for LA 13. When you write out 13, it equals 99. It's the 99th NFL season. The girl's name is McKenna Meebane, which equals 99. And look at her name. M's the 13th letter. You know? So stuff is just sick. I mean, it's just ritual sacrifice year after year, rigged sports, same code, same patterns. The date of her death was a date with 43 numerology. This guy plays for the Chargers, 43, football, 43, killing, 43. January 3rd to his birthday is 12 days later, or a span of 13 days too. Girl also died a span of 13 days from his birthday. And look, he's the magic age, 33, synced up with his 34th birthday, murder 34. And from the little girl's birthday, since she was born November 12th to the day she died, January 3rd, span of 53 days. It's the NFL season ending with Super Bowl 53. This guy plays for Los Angeles, 53. Shape of the football, the Vesica Pisces, 53. Los Angeles Chargers put out a tweet at 121. That's sick. Blood sacrifice equals 121 with the alphabetic order. She was born on the day, leaving 49 days left in the year. The news story came yesterday, January 9th, 2019, date with 49 numerology, NFL 49. Date can also be written 9/1 like 91, the 13th triangular number. 49 breaks down to 4 plus 9 is 13. If only we'd seen that story before the divisional round of the playoffs, but it wasn't out yet. Yesterday, after I did the podcast, this was breaking news. People asked if I could look into it. This stretch of water covered on the deadliest catch. Supposedly it tipped over a crab boat yesterday. Joaquina Bay, known as Dungeon Cove. Dungeon Cove has the Gematria 46 like sacrifice. And Yakina Bay has this gematria of 154, like ritual sacrifice, also like crab boat. The 44 stands out, right? Kill 44. Also 55, also corresponding with crab boat. Crab boat tips over in Yakina Bay. 3 men reported dead. This was just off the coast of Oregon, the 33rd state, where the 3 are dead. So people definitely die out on the ocean. It's just that when it makes the news, you got to wonder if it's real or is this something to get more people to tune into Deadliest Catch? You know what I mean? So also yesterday, people asked if I could look into this story. There was a story of a teen girl, a 14-year-old, and her 12-year-old sister killing their mother. Somebody asked if I could look into that story. So when I'm doing a web search for it, I noticed that that story comes up, but then another story comes up right next to it. Boy 14 charged with killing 12-year-old. And I was like, what in the world? 2 stories of 14-year-olds and 12-year-olds and killing. And look at the pictures. I mean, black children. Both of these stories emerged January 8th. 1-8, like 18. Race equals 18. And what do these stories do? They just perpetrate the stereotypes. Black people are dangerous people. Look, even their kids, they kill their mothers. They even kill each other. And supposedly the 2 girls, the 14-year-old and the 12-year-old, killed their mother on January 4th, a Friday, a date with 44 numerology, the big kill number. Plus January 4th can be written 1/4 or 4/1. Mom equals 14 and 41. What a day to kill mom. The girl's name, Amironia Hall. Hall's got that gematria 33, but look at her, how her name comes together. It's got that gematria 58. Notice the 58 and 77, because you slide down to the other story with the same ages. The person killed in this story, his name's Kimon Battle, and you just see the same numbers, 58, 77. Numbers related with Freemasonry, secret society. The name Battle has gematria of 60 and 102, just like the N-word. And somebody left a comment, Zach, I hate when you say the N-word. Well, I can't say the actual word because that now gets censored on YouTube, and I don't know what else to say. Should I spell it out each time? I'm just communicating the point of what's going on. So anyway, these stories both look like propaganda to me, meant to perpetrate the ongoing stereotypes. We see how the media will theme their news again and again using the same numbers. I mean, what are the odds? 2 stories that communicate the same type of tragedy, same numbers, same day. So the stories were posted on the same day, that is. The story of the 14-year-old boy killing 12-year-old boy, that reportedly happened December 21st. What's 12 plus 21? 33. Like how race war equals 33. Like how Rodney King was beaten on 3-3. Rodney King with his April 2nd birthday, 4-2. Rodney King equals 59, like Negro, like slave, like blues. So he died about a month shy of his 13th birthday. His name also, 118 like death, 62 like sacrifice. Anyway. I think those were all the main points I wanted to cover today. And if anybody wants to call in, the number is 509-731-0567. In 509-731-0567 if anybody wants to phone in. If not, we can call it a day and be back tomorrow. Of course, for all you sports enthusiasts, I'll be back tonight for the divisional round decode. Actually, before I go, just in case anybody's trying to get their phone to dial in, I'll check out the... Oh, we do have a caller. Let's see here.
Hey, what's good, Zach?
Hey, is this Chigozie Truth?
Yeah, it is.
What's
yes,
up, man?
Brother. Not much. I just called quick. I wanted to share. I'm sure you already know about these, but I think it's like a really good example of just them using 223 within a span of a week. And I'm sure they've done this before, but 4 people coming out in the media 223 from their birthday. On January 3rd this year, Nancy Pelosi gets sworn to office 2 months, 23 days from her birthday. And then the next day, you had Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's also a House representative person. The next day on the 4th, you know, she was dancing on front page news. They're saying, you know, she was dancing in college. The whole thing came out. That came out 2 months, 23 days from her birthday. So 2 days in a row, we get 2 people coming out 2 months, 23 days from her birthday. Yesterday on 1/9, Paul Manafort's coming back in the news 2 months, 23 days from his upcoming birthday, which is, I believe, April 1st. So that's 3 people. And then yesterday, Al Roker coming up defending that weatherman who, or I don't know what his position was, but he's coming out to talk about the weatherman who said, Kuhn.
Right.
That was 223 days from Al Roker's birthday.
Of course.
So 4 223s in like less than a week. I think, like, I'm going to document that myself and, you know, share it. But I think, like, that's one of those really solid examples that it really shows that it is a pattern. There's no way to deny it. It's completely a pattern when you see that saturation in such a short amount of time.
Well, the people who continue to deny this work, I mean, they'll deny anything, obviously. But, yeah, it is a really good observation.
For sure, man. Yeah, well, thanks for the stream and everything. I just want to share this point.
All right, brother. Keep up the great work. Everybody, Chigozie Truth, his channel link is in my description for people out there who don't know it. All right, man.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Have a good day. You take care.
You too. Peace.
Yeah, in case you didn't know, I have I'm sure there's other people I need to link here, but you know, down below I got hold on. Oh, yeah, I was like, there should be something else here. I got Derek's channel, I got Dan Behrendt channel, I got Chigozie Truth, I got Jeremy White. I know there's other ones I need to add to this list. I got the Gematria Database. Check that out. This guy's put in a lot of hard work. And should be subscribed to all these channels if you're not. So we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. We'll be back tomorrow. And again, for the sports enthusiasts, I'll be back tonight. So have a great rest of your day. Thank you again, everyone. Appreciate all of your support. Till next time.